What's up, everybody? Brennan Edwards here from the Curse of Akakor, the tech guy, and I'm here to give you my takeaways from episode 2. All right, first off, if you saw my other review, which you definitely should watch, the first review, because I go really into detail about this, we just got up this ridiculous walk after this ridiculous boat ride to get to this ridiculous rock. And the reaction that they have in the episode for me, I'm like, whoa. It's real. That was real, because there was so many petroglyphs. Like the first rock we saw in episode 1, it's like they had these giant rocks that had like 7 petroglyphs on the entire giant rock. And then we come up to this, and it's literally like a wall of graffiti of petroglyphs, like just innumerable. Like I don't even know how many there were. And it's just like, I've never seen anything like that before on that scale. So I really was like, whoa, like that's crazy, because I didn't know what to expect. It wasn't really well described to us from the locals. They were just like, there's more petroglyphs over here, and maybe it's something you're looking for, and it would fit within the triangle of what we were looking to find, so we, of course, had to check it out. I was really impressed with that. Now, that's the fun side of it. The not so fun side of it is I have never, in my entire life, experienced such aggressive bugs. Even the guys that we had that live in the jungle were just like, yeah, that's new, and kind of stuff. Like that was happening while we were out there. We were for real in like super remote Amazonia, and it was intense. Like the bugs were like, oh, fresh meat. You don't have any defense against us, and for some reason, I'm always the one that gets destroyed the most. So
it's 'cause you're so sweet.
Thank you, cameraman Tony. So the bugs are crazy, and we get up there, and they're just like, we want you to fly the drone, because one of the clues from the book, The Chronicles of Akakor, said that, you know, if there was an entrance, then it would be marked by petroglyphs, and above that entrance, you'll be able to see it. So they're like, Brennan, fly the drone. And I'm like, cool, I'll get away from this wall, because maybe there'll be less bugs. And hilariously, there were more bugs over by the water, of course, and that's where I had to fly from to be able to get far enough back from the wall so that they could do their thing and I could do mine. It was horrible. That was the absolute worst conditions I've ever flown drone in, period. I've flown drone for years. I've flown drone in countries all over the world. I've done all kind of jobs, all kind of drones with all kind of people. And those bugs, that moment and that day, win the cake, because goodness gracious. I don't know if it looks like I'm struggling, but I don't think that it was sold enough how hard that was. When you're flying a drone, everything is about precision. So what you have to be able to do is very precisely move your thumbs, understand the framing of what you're looking at. At the same time, I have to be looking down, paying attention to the frame, paying attention to where the drone is to make sure I'm not crashing into anything. And I have to be looking for something. I'm looking for an entrance to a lost city. That was extremely challenging. I'm proud of myself, once again, for how well I did and what ended up happening. I ended up getting the footage. I didn't see anything. The jungle canopy is pretty hard to penetrate with a drone, because the canopy is, the reason it's called a canopy is because it covers the entire ground. And the other thing is, as we said in previous episode 1, they said, oh man, this conversation that we're having about the turnaround time, you know, you guys gotta turn around when you do, because if you don't get back in time, you'll be out on the river in the jungle at night. And I promise you, the last thing you want to do is be in the jungle at night, like traveling. It's scary during the day, but at night, that's when most things hunt that are of human size or bigger. So we actually only had a short amount of time to look at those petroglyphs, get the drone shots, and get out of there. Really happy with what we got, and yeah, those are my thoughts. It was pretty intense. So one piece of technology that was used in this episode that I thought was really cool was the X-ray zapper gun thing that I was talking about. I didn't say X-ray in the episode, but that's actually how it worked, is that what it did is it fires a small stream of X-rays that it actually measures the reaction of the atoms of the things that it hits, because when an X-ray hits an atom, it's easy to measure the reaction. It's almost like a reflection of the light. The way you're seeing me is that your eyes are seeing the reflection of the light that's coming off of the screen that you're watching this on, and your brain is perceiving that to be an image of this, you know, handsome guy in front of you. If you're doing this with the X-ray machine, and what the X-ray machine did is that it would do the same thing and be able to break down the breakdown of like the elemental composition. There we go. The elemental composition of whatever it was. And it was really cool. And so Dr. Pepper had used it before. And for me, seeing all those different elemental breakdowns, I didn't really know. Like, I remember some of it from chemistry class, but I didn't really know everything. But he knew it all. He would see it and be like, oh no, this is limestone, there's some sandstone in there, and these petroglyphs are only gonna be here for this long because of the water's gonna rise and do all this. Like, he could literally just look at it and know everything, like the story of the past, the present, and what's gonna happen in the future. All right, so next up, you'll see it at around 9 minutes and 40 seconds. I got to pull out another piece of my tech, which this one was one of my favorites, but also one of the ones that I hated the most. This was pretty much like a portable Wi-Fi, but it was like a big suitcase. It was like a briefcase that I would pull out. Pretty much every time that I would use that thing, it would be a fight, because it had like a beeping system that it's like, all right, you need to point it at the right satellite. You need to be able to open the thing just the right amount. And it would beep at you. Like the beeps would tell you like how strong the signal is before you say, okay, connect, and then give us internet. Also, it was terrifying because as soon as you press that button, there's like a big red sign that says back away. You gotta be like 3 feet away from it because of radiation. Because this thing is directly connecting to these satellites, obviously expelling radiation at a level that you shouldn't be anywhere near it. So I would press it and then run away really quick. But I got to use it in this episode to be able to help us, Dr. Pepper, connect with his homie who had the maps and to be able to give him the data that we had of where we were that I got from Megan. She had like this GPS locator and said, this is where we are. Can you give us maps that fall in line with all the criteria that Martin identified to be able to say, where should we be looking in this area? We know we're in the right place, but it's just vast. Can you help us out? While we were looking at those maps and all that, you'll probably notice there's a little bit of a wardrobe change that happened. I learned from the bugs. I learned what they did to me, and I was prepared for that. So I actually had a backup hat that wasn't this hat, that was just a mosquito net hat, because I was done. I was done. It wasn't mentioned in the episode. Nobody said anything. Everybody's like, well, Brennan, you're not gonna look the same in every episode. And I'm like, yes, that's fine. I don't care. I'm gonna wear this because I'm done with these bugs. And I can't tell you guys how happy that hat made me. The worst part is I put it on and then suddenly all the bugs went away for everybody else. And at that point, we already had started filming, and I was like, well, we've gone too far now. We're here. I just look like the guy that's just sitting there in this huge bug net that's overprotected for things that didn't even matter. But cool, it's fine. That's how nature works, and that's pretty much how my experience was for the first few days that we were out there. So I hope you enjoyed the hat as much as I did. I honestly found it really interesting that I got to work with Dr. Pepper on identifying that right angle in the jungle. We were looking through the maps and, looking at what his homie Grunberg had sent us and saying these are the highly identified areas, and being able to really look and see and find, like, look, what doesn't look natural, and to see an actual right angle. That's obviously something. You'll never see that. Like, you can search the rest of those mountains and search the rest of the areas. In nature, perfect right angles don't occur. That's something that we make. People make right angles. We like them. We like symmetry. We like to be able to have that for buildings and structures. That's what we do. So when you see something like that, even if it's vegetation that's grown into a perfect right angle, that probably means that there's human interaction. So for me, this moment was really exciting because I was just like, wow, we found the thing that we want to look at. So, we should go look at it. All right, so if you fast forward in the episode to about 12 minutes and 38 seconds, you'll notice this is another group conversation that's going on. So one thing to point out is that these conversations that we are having to be able to determine what happens and where we're going, we're not scripted. These are just like, we're really talking about like, okay, who's gonna go where and who's gonna do what. And it's really funny because if you watch my face, you will see my face during this conversation, and I am not about it. I am not trying to do this. Like, you just watch it the whole time. They're like, yo, so we need to go up to where that, that right angle was. We need to explore that. We need to figure this out. Like, let's go. All right, well, let's strip down the team because it's a super dangerous job. We're going to send Martin, and we're going to send the survivalist Megan. Cool. And then Megan was immediately like, well, looks right at me like, but don't we need drones? My reaction right there, if you just pay attention, it's really hard to hear, but it's the most authentic from my left ventricle. You need to understand. I said, not at all. We had just finished talking about how dangerous this was and how serious it was going to be to get up to the top of this mountain in a place that nobody has been in probably hundreds of years to look for it. I was like, hey guys, if we're stripping the team down, like, I'll take one for the team. I don't need to go. Not at all. I don't want to go. And then the next scene, you'll see me wishing them goodbye. All right, guys, thank you so much for checking out my takeaways from episode 2. I can't even tell you how excited I am for episode 3. Look for my takeaways because I'm excited for it. Obviously, I know a little bit more than you guys do about what happens, and I'm telling you, you want to see it. So tune in, check it out, and I'll see you then.